Good evening and welcome to the Planning Board meeting of Tuesday, October 17th. These meetings are on Milford TV and are broadcast live, so we are on TV. With that, I'll open the meeting and take a motion for the minutes of our last meeting, which was 10/3/23.
Motion to accept the minutes.
Motion by Chris to accept the minutes. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Babe. Any discussion? These are on the minutes that the revised meeting minutes that Larry sent out. Any discussion? Hearing not, all those in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous at 4, Larry. '81Ps, Quarry Square LLC, 196 East Main Street. Is that here, Larry?
Yes, it's just a simple lot split. The plaza's creating 2 parcels to be sold to the adjacent property owner, Milton Cat. It's endorsable as submitted. My only question is, it's not a land court plan, is it? No, so you can have me sign it if you want. These are part of the overflow parking that Fabbert had done originally, so they've been used for equipment storage off and on. They're not actually part of the parking calcs for the plaza.
Oh, these are the upper parking lots?
Yep.
Next to, okay.
Joe wants to see that. That actually has the lots drawn on it.
Yeah, last time through, those weren't included, my recollection.
Yeah.
Any questions from the board? Hearing none, what's the pleasure of the board?
Make a motion that we have Larry sign the 81.
Motion by Larry to have him sign the 81P for 196 East Main Street. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Joe. Any further discussion? Hearing not, all those in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous at 4, Larry. Continued amended site plan, 146 South Main Street, New York Capital Investment Group.
He's got a letter extending again because his traffic engineer still hasn't been able to get back to the project and give him an updated report. So he's going to the December meeting to try and...
I talked to John today, too. They haven't gone to the sewer yet,
I still haven't gone to the sewer?
so
I thought we have a letter for him already.
I had thought so, too.
I
but
thought so.
Yeah,
Right, I thought they said that
John
they...
said, not that he knows of, so.
No, I think I have it in the file.
I thought Lenny even said that they
Yeah.
were going to sign it,
The
so
only thing we're waiting on is the traffic.
Okay.
So
anyways, we have plenty of time to straighten that out. So we have a request to extend to the meeting of, are we meeting on 12/12?
Yep.
When's the,
Yeah, well, I may not be here.
Is that the,
yeah,
This is the switch month. This is the single meeting in December, correct, Larry?
Yep.
Yeah, usually that corresponds with Lions Club Christmas meeting. So we'll have to work that out one way or another.
I'll be the chair. I'm not going to it.
Yeah, I probably, well, we'll see what happens.
You can go and I'll take the chair.
We'll see what happens, what's on during that meeting. Anyways, we have a request to continue to the meeting of 12/12/23.
I'll make a motion to reschedule.
do you think you should just make it, can you just do it to the December meeting in case you change the December meeting?
Well, we have another meeting in between, so we can
Yeah, we can work
adjust
it
it
out.
if we
Yeah.
discover something else.
Well, I think you should only push it to the next meeting then. You should continue it to the next meeting, because once you continue it to the 12th, you can't do anything until the 12th.
Well, there are 2 meetings in November, the 14th and the 28th.
So push it to the 28th.
So I'd
then.
do it to the 28th, and
Okay.
we'll see how things are going.
Yeah, that's a good idea, so that way we'll just bring it
Withdraw
up.
my motion.
Thanks, Joe.
I thought you amended it.
Do I hear a motion to continue to the, to 11/28/23? Don't we want to do that?
Yeah,
You do, Babe? All right.
Yeah, I thought you
Motion by
amended
Babe. Do
I'll
I hear a
second that
second?
one then.
Seconded by Chris. All those in favor of rescheduling the meeting to 11/28/23 for New York Capital Investment Group will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous at 4. You can tell them why, Larry, and we'll just
Yep.
work it out as to how we're doing it. It's not a reflection on them.
Yep.
Amended site plan, 179 Fortune Boulevard, viewpoint sign.
Should be straightforward in spite of the amount of paper.
All right, I will read your letter, Larry. The applicant requests amended site plan approval to replace the existing freestanding sign at the intersection of Quarry Drive and Fortune Boulevard with a new freestanding sign, thank God. Proposed double-faced, non-illuminated freestanding pylon sign is 21.5 feet in height and is 84 square feet in area per side. The frontage of the lot on which it is located is 546 feet. The proposed sign is supported by one 10-by-10 steel vertical post and provides an 8-foot vision clearance to the bottom of the actual display panel. Sign placement in the driveway median will be entirely on private property and will not encroach on the Fortune Boulevard right-of-way. Quarry Drive is a private driveway serving multiple sites, including the Quarry Square Plaza and the Milton Cat Complex. The driveway alignment crosses several parcels, and the site of the proposed new sign in the driveway median is actually on Lot 9, adjacent to Fortune Boulevard right-of-way. All applicable zoning requirements appear to be met, and therefore Larry's recommended site plan approval, subject to agency comments. Fire department is reviewed. They have no recommendations. Water company, I can't imagine has any.
Yeah, you never
You
know.
never know, they might send us with how they need to put things in. Sees no conflict or issues. Board of Sewer unanimously approved. And the Highway Department reviewed it and finds it to be satisfactory. There's a picture of the sign and the location in the back of the packet. Any questions or comments from the board? Applicant?
No. Just here to answer your questions if you have any.
Have anything to say about it, or
It's a beautiful sign, and
It's going to be.
you must be the people putting it in then?
yes, I'm with Viewpoint. I'm Scott Spalding.
Any questions from the board?
Questions here?
no, I make a motion we approve the amended site plan.
Motion by Babe to approve the amended site plan. Do I have a second?
Well, second.
Seconded by Chris. Any further discussion? Hearing not, all those in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous at 4.
This one is non-illuminated, correct?
This particular one is yes.
Yep. Moving right along.
Amended site plan 196 East Main Street, viewpoint sign.
Never heard of them. Oh, sorry.
The applicant
Think
requests
you have,
amended,
Larry.
requests amended site plan approval to replace the 2 existing freestanding signs at the 2 entrance drives for Quarry Square on East Main Street, so we're looking at the other end. The 2 proposed double-faced interior illuminated freestanding pylon signs are both 22 feet in height and are 106 square feet plus or minus in message area per side. The property has 2 separate frontages on East Main Street. The westerly frontage of the lot on East Main Street is 189 feet. The easterly frontage on East Main Street is 301. The westerly sign placement is west of the west driveway entirely on private property and will not encroach into the East Main Street right-of-way. The easterly sign placement is within the east driveway median, will also be entirely on private property and will not encroach into the street right-of-way. Neither sign is located in a clear vision triangle. All applicable zoning appears to be met, therefore Larry is recommending approval. Fire Department, again, has no recommendations. Water Department has no issues, sees no conflicts, and the Board of Sewer Commissioners approved the change, and Highway Surveyor finds it to be satisfactory. And again, we have pictures of the locations and also pictures of the signs that are going to go in. How far back is the, because I know the one that would be, let's see, the easterly one. That one there, I think that one has had some vision issues. Is this one being put same location, or is it back a little bit further from where the existing sign is?
Well, I can't tell you exactly where the existing sign is right now. But we met the 20-foot setback, I believe it is.
You're 20 feet behind the right away?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on the median, and it's set back out of the clear sight triangles from either side of the median, so should be fine.
You said the existing signs had issues? Isn't that pretty far set back? Well, now you got me
I thought that one,
questioning
I'm trying to think, I thought there was one, I know the one, I certainly know the one on the other side was, the other Quarry Square entrance on Fortune Boulevard was an issue, because you can't, that one was too low, you couldn't see, but I forget whether, I thought one of these might have been a little bad, maybe
I think
wrong.
has an issue, but not because of the sign. It's some of the transformer and I think bushes that are
That's
in
what
front
it,
of
that's,
99.
yeah.
Maybe that's what, maybe,
The sign is
We
pretty,
can't control.
Yeah,
yeah,
the signs are okay, it's the transformer next to 99
okay,
is the problem.
yeah.
So both of these should be okay.
Any other questions from the board? Hearing none, what's the pleasure of the board?
I'll make a motion to accept the proposed two signs at the 196 East Main Street location.
Motion to approve the amended site plan for 196 East Main Street.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Joe. The motion was by Chris. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous at 4. Thanks, guys.
thank you very much. Have a pleasant evening.
Amended site plan, 189 West Street, DNF Afonso. The applicant requests amended site plan approval for a change of use in the existing multi-tenant commercial building on the subject property. Specifically, the proposal is to change the use in unit number 8 from the previous office use to a restaurant use, a coffee shop. The change will be accomplished with interior alterations only. There are no proposed additions to the building. The parking lot provides 96 off-street parking spaces and will remain unchanged. All applicable zoning requirements appear to be met, therefore I recommend approval from Larry. Fire Department has reviewed, has no recommendations. Water Company sees no conflict. Board of Health has no issues. Sewer Commission voted at their meeting September 26 to approve the amended site plan. Is a grease trap up there?
No, they don't need one unless they put a stove in.
Right, they
that's what the
approved it
letter
with
says.
condition, a limitation of,
Oh, they have, okay, they're not doing. Highway Surveyor finds it to be satisfactory. And we have a picture of the site at the end.
yeah, it's the end unit, the north end of the building,
Okay.
and the grand opening is Thursday, or Friday, sometime soon.
They just forgot that they had to come to us first.
No, not exactly.
Any questions from the board?
Be doable.
Any plans for a drive-through?
Representing applicant.
No, if they're going to do a drive-through, they would have to come back to us again. There's no
Okay.
provision for a drive-through, so
They
that's
can't
not
do a drive-through,
doable.
Okay.
it's impossible.
Applicant?
That's us, there's no drive-through.
Yeah, well, we certainly wouldn't be reviewing one with a drive-through tonight that easily, because drive-throughs are not,
We won't be back for that, don't worry.
it's probably a good move, because it's a little bit tight in that area to try to get a drive-through through. Any other questions from the board? Hearing not.
I make a motion that we approve the site plan.
Motion by Babe
Amended site plan.
to approve the amended site plan,
I'll second that.
seconded by Joe. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous at 4. Amended site plan 206 East Main Street, Hollows Meat Market. The applicant requests amended site plan approval for a change of use within the existing commercial plaza on the subject property. Specifically, the proposal is to change the use in Unit 5 in the south building from the previous retail use to a convenience store with butcher shop, meat market, and deli. There are no proposed additions to the building, as changes will be accomplished with interior alterations only. However, the required 1,000-gallon grease trap is to be installed under the fire lane at the rear east side of the building. The parking lot provides 90 off-street parking spaces and will remain unchanged. All zoning appears to be met. Therefore, I recommend approval of the amended site plan, subject to relevant agency comments. Fire department has no recommendations. Water department sees no conflicts. Board of Health has no issues. Sewer Commission voted at their meeting September 26th to approve the amended site plan, noting that installation of an external 1,000-gallon grease trap is required by the sewer department rules and regulations. And the highway department finds it to be satisfactory. And we have copies of the
mine's-
interior changes.
Do you not,
It's after,
Mine-
keep going, it's at the end.
I have my letter, I submitted it late, it's at the end.
And I will read yours now, Liz. The town engineer reviewed the submittal for the amended site plan for change of use of 206 East Main Street, have the following comments. The existing concrete dumpster pad should be expanded for additional dumpster pad constructed to contain a dumpster for the proposed unit and for the dumpsters not currently located on approved dumpster pads. The limit of pavement removal and replacement required for the installation of the grease trap and additional sewer manhole should be shown on the site plan. Details of the proposed dumpster pad and paving should be included on the plan.
I just noticed these angled parking spaces, Joe, that got added. They hadn't been approved previously, and they don't dimensionally meet our requirements. Doesn't maintain a proper
Drive aisle.
width, and if you took it, it would take out a handicap parking space. So at least one or two of those need to go away, if not all of them, because right now, what was previously approved and what's out there, at least according to the aerial photo, the recent one, is that they're all parallel stalls along the front. So I think that needs to be restored on the site plan to all parallel stalls.
Will they have enough spaces?
I don't care.
No, well,
That's their problem. Physically, it's a
Well, I know-
problem physically.
No, I agree. I'm just saying if they then don't have enough spaces, then how can they approve?
Well, that
the-
could be a condition of restoring it to the proper configuration, and then, re-up the parking calcs on the chart, see how it comes. See how it comes out.
For the record, John Federico with Guerrier and Hellman, engineers for the project. Currently, the striping that's being shown on there is all existing striping. So we do acknowledge that there was previously approved with the parallel parking stalls there. As far as anything goes, we have been working with existing tenants there, that if we have to remove any seats from any of the restaurants or any stations or seats from like a nail salon or the tanning salon there, the tenants are willing to do that to help get the parking count down. So if anything, we would like to ask for the condition that we can reflect the parallel parking and then have those restriped. And I can always provide an updated plan by tomorrow for you
Because
guys.
the board would have never approved that, so that was just
Understood in that case, and again, we're
It was
just
just a
reflecting
Moshi thing, he wanted to do it, so he striped it. I'm not impressed.
I'm not surprised.
You said these exist as right now, if I were to
Yes.
drive down there, you'd
Yeah,
see these
What
lines.
was
Okay.
approved were the parallels.
Yep.
So if it's been restriped, it's relatively recently, because the current aerial photo doesn't show it.
Currently, right now, they are the angled striping, but again,
Yeah.
if we could have that as a condition, we can have it reflected with an updated table count for the parallel parking there.
I assume that the dumpster pads, when this was, neither of the dumpster pads have screening. And if you look at the pictures on, there's stuff in the back that I think shouldn't be there. But I didn't know to what extent the board would want to have screening, especially where this dumpster pad on the east is behind the building, but the other one, even, it's kind of still visible from the,
That one's up near the back,
yeah.
isn't it? Yeah, because I know where that one is.
I didn't know if you wanted,
Usually, if they can't be seen from the road.
Well, the one that Liz is speaking of up in the back, I think, I mean, that one's, especially considering that customers are driving right by there.
Yeah.
The other one, I'm not, I don't
right.
agree. I don't think there's a reason to put screening around it, considering it's only it's a fire aisle for all practical purposes. There's no parking, there's nothing back on that side. That being said, I think that area should be cleared out. It is a fire and access aisle and needs to be cleared. So I have no problem saying that, there's no, especially considering they're going to be doing work back out there for the grease trap and stuff, to say that needs to be cleared out and available full access to provide as part of approval.
We have been in touch with the property owner to make sure that any cars and any tenants that are currently there are fully made aware that they should not be parking back there, and that any of those like planks and planters that Liz saw are to be removed. So we will make sure that is addressed.
Yeah, my feeling is that we should indicate that the building department is not to issue an occupancy permit until that area is cleared. Whether that does anything or not is beyond me, but at least it's a shot.
Well, and it's something I can bring up with John, too. There's 2 dumpsters that are currently not on dumpster pads. And I'm assuming that there's going to be another dumpster for this particular use. I don't know that for certain, I guess.
The clarification that I've received from the property owner on that has been several of the tenants aren't even fully using the dumpsters that they have, like the nail salon or the tanning salon, so some of those units will be condensed. We will be able to get an extra dumpster on the pad back there and still make it be able to fit. The final dumpster location, from what I've been told, is for the U.S. Army recruiting office, and at least from what's been portrayed to me so far, that location was specifically chosen by the U.S. Army, and there is something federally that's controlling that. I'm not sure what exactly that might be.
I'm scared.
If we could have that as any sort of condition that, we can't get occupancy or something.
Do you know if that's the one
It's
that's
the one next to the light pole.
right next to the light
The
pole?
one directly behind the building was being used by the donut place, but that one there is going to be relocated down onto the pad.
So the one that's up here isn't really, I think if they showed it on the plan, it might be out of all the travel paths and everything, because it is tucked away. It's not on a pad. I don't know, again, how much the board cares about that versus, how much a pad is really there for the property owner to not have his tar parking lot. But I would suggest if the board wants to leave it, it should be shown on the site plan.
Yes. Yeah, I guess, again, my view is those that are behind there, based on what's there, we can, all I need to see is where they're going to be, and they should be on the plan. That being said, to me, one of the reasons why it should be on a pad is that we end up chasing people, because what happens is they get put down there, then they ruin the pavement, then it continues to get ruined into what becomes the emergency access for the fire department, and that's a huge hole in the back of the building because they didn't put it on a pad. So my feeling is it needs to be on a pad. I'll give them the leeway to tell me where they want to put them behind the building, but at the end of the day, if they want 6 of them back there, they all need to be on pads. And, I don't have an issue with approving it with that stipulation, but they need to be shown and they need to be on pads. That's my feeling.
This particular plan in front of you, gentlemen, tonight, we did make the revision per some of Liz's comments. I can have a new plan sent over to the town tomorrow reflecting any of those locations or anything that we might have included with conditions for tonight.
Thursday's okay, I'm out tomorrow.
And I'm out most of tomorrow.
Any questions, comments, other comments from the board?
I guess, quick question. So the concrete pad is already existing?
Yes, it is an existing concrete pad.
Just when you were there, the dumpsters were not located on it? Or
There's 3 or 4.
3 that were way up, yeah, I see that.
There's 3 or 4 dumpsters that are on the
They
pad.
are on there, okay.
Right, and then there's 2 dumpsters. One might not even be on the property,
Okay.
I'm not sure.
One is right behind Unit 7, approximately, and then the other one is up by that light pole in that small landscape island,
Understood.
just past Unit 8 there.
Okay. All right. And I guess a basic question is, when we go back to the subject of parking, when the layout like this, is the parking to accommodate what was the general sense for these buildings, or because
What he
we're
submitted.
amending the different site,
Well,
each site, so we have to look at
He submitted
parking?
a site plan
Yes.
that had retail only,
Yep.
and the very first uses he put in were restaurants.
Correct.
Which required more parking
More parking,
than
yeah.
straight retail.
Okay.
And that seems to be a habit of this particular developer. So he shot himself in the foot multiple times by doing that, and that's caused a parking problem.
Yeah.
Not just practically, but technically when you look at zoning requirements.
So
Correct,
that's one of the reasons that we have a site plan review for change of use, is because the board needs to determine whether or not the proposed use has enough, if there's enough existing parking for the proposed use. And
If the proposed use could work, it's just too intense, and they can modify it, as John was just saying, going back to some of the clients now and changing the intensity of their use as to how it generates required parking, then that's what
Yeah, I know it's a
we try
basic
to
question
do.
with kind of a complicated answer, because as you had explained, each site has a little bit of a change of use that has impacted the overall original parking plan. So I guess, what is that impact?
That's
Do
what
I
he's-
know what that
That's what
impact
he,
is or
that's,
not?
each time they come in front of the
Yeah.
board, they have to recalculate
Yeah.
this,
For the
each of
spaces
these
here, okay.
uses.
Sorry, yeah.
And then so, for instance, that first restaurant, 1 space per 3 seats, right, they have 26 seats, and that's where, right now, they're right at, I think, the number of spaces that they have
the
and they
illegal
can have.
parking.
So once they remove those, say 4 of those 5 spaces goes away, now they're going to have to go to each of these individual unit owners and tell them that they need to remove some seating, or they need to, whatever, so that the parking calculation then matches
Okay, I appreciate
what they have for parking.
that explanation, yeah. So, and I guess, last basic question would be, how many parking spaces are we short then right now? Oh, from that?
Well, that's what they're going to tell us.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're going to
so, yeah,
figure
all
it
right.
out, and they're going to take away what they need, but
Okay.
it looks to just, if I were to guess, I would say 4.
Or because of the 4 angled parking spots,
Yes.
most likely, okay.
And
Well, you
again,
probably get one in there, so I would,
Yeah.
But the
Right.
thing is, from a design standpoint.
Oh, yeah, I'm
and
sorry.
dimensional
I thought there was
standpoint,
5.
We don't want any angle stalls there. You want to restore the parallel
Correct.
parking.
Right.
Yeah.
There was a reason there was parallel parking, that's because the dimensions aren't there to have anything other than parallel parking along that strip of curb. So as part of the overall design, you use turning radius criteria, that there are a number of sections in the bylaw that specify what all that is. Obviously, John does this and he sleeps, so he knows what those dimensions are, when you lay out a site plan. But it doesn't help when a developer immediately uses the highest parking generator for his very first store. So the store's gone, now you got a restaurant, and then that's blown the site plan parking calculations for the entire rest of the plaza, and you notice that there's several
It's made-
restaurants in there.
That's why, yeah.
It's made the engineer's job more difficult because they have to try and make the numbers work with the spaces, in this particular case, because there's just no room for more spaces.
Correct, okay. No, thank you.
Now, is there any reason that it has to be done right away with the amount of changes and what has to be done here? I don't think we could approve, I wouldn't be comfortable approving it, upon receiving it. I'd like to see it.
as of right now, again, as far as any of the final parking counts go, even if we had to lose all 4 of the spaces, we'll make sure appropriate seat counts for restaurants or other businesses existing there are adjusted accordingly.
Well, it'd be a net loss because you're restoring at least 1 or 2 parallel spaces back there anyway. But to Babe's point, the November meeting is the 14th, so it's not like it's eons away. If you wanted to continue it, and then you could bring it back.
well, I sort of agree with you, Babe, in that, again, with this owner too, I don't want, it's very easy for somebody to come in and say, yeah, I'm going to remove 2 spaces, and never happens. And so I'd like to see where those spaces are going to be removed, what's happening, other than somebody just coming in and making a change so the numbers work out on a piece of paper. I'd like to know where they are.
With the parking, same thing with the dumpster pads.
Yeah.
If they have to pour a dumpster pad, it's just,
Yeah, I mean, to make sure that it gets done. I
Many
think it's-
variables.
Yeah, no, I have no problem
If
with
you wanted
that.
to continue to the 14th, that'll give John some time.
As far as anything goes, I know the applicant for the meat market is already pretty much just waiting on your folks' approval before he can really put in the grease trap and get everything finalized on his end. It would be our purview, just on the applicant side, to ask for anything as a special condition, just so we can start that process moving forward. But I understand any of the planning board's concerns there. But at least speaking on the applicant side of things, we would like to try to get that as any sort of special conditions. And then if we have to follow up before COCs or something, we could always have that done at that time. Or certificate of occupancy.
Can he start the grease trap on his, without?
Well, I guess I don't have an issue with that per se. I mean, that's his call to a certain extent, but I reserve the right of approving the plan or not based
No,
on what we've talked about. I mean, that's,
It's not that we're trying to.
no, and there's nothing with the grease trap that
We're
we're
not gonna
talking
shoot
about.
the
That's not an
plan
issue.
down.
But if it, if at the end of the day, the owner, the owner or the current people say, hey, I'm not getting rid of those seats, and no, that isn't going to happen, then that's on you that you can't put it in, not on us. So that's totally up to you. I think the board has certainly expressed why they want to continue it. It's those issues. We're not going to reopen other issues come November, but.
Completely understood in that case. I just mentioned that, but whatever the board decides, we'll address accordingly for it.
Yeah, we won't go back on other things.
I just
but
wanted to, I guess wanted to give them that option.
Yeah. That being said, is there a motion to continue to the first meeting in November?
I make a motion.
Motion by Babe to continue to, what do we say, November
14th.
14th? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Chris. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, unanimous of 4. So we'll see you back on the 14th. Those will be the issues.
And if I could just clarify those issues on my end real quick. So it would be the removal of the angled stalls in lieu of having the appropriate parallel stalls put back in.
Yep.
Dumpster pad, did we confirm if the board wanted to have the pad put in?
Yes.
Or-
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
we'll make sure that that's
Yeah,
reflected.
however many you think you need,
Yep.
you need to show with a pad.
Understood. For screening for that, I know
Behind
there's
the
existing
building-
trees. I'm not sure if we need to have.
Behind the building, I don't think there's anybody on the board that's worried about screening behind the building. The one, yeah, for the one
In the rear?
up here, I think there's one up here, that needs to be screened.
Okay.
And I would say the one, if you're going to keep the one by the Army,
Yep.
because that's visible
That's-
from
And
the...
that's visible as you turn the
Definitely
corner.
visible from the...
And then is like a, say like a fence or anything that's opaque, appropriate screening, or would you need to see landscaping on that end?
Chain link fence with the slats.
Okay.
Or,
You guys got standard, you've got a standard detail
Yeah,
for it.
I know, but I figured I'd just double check on that.
Yeah, no.
Okay. I think that's it for any questions. I do appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
as far as the grease trap, that's not actually a site plan, that's a sewer thing, which is part of the site.
Yeah, where it is is
And that's
fine.
why-
We just want to see
The
it. yeah.
sewer, that you could put it in.
Yeah, we just didn't want to start anything, in case for some unknown reason we had the whole project, get axed by the planning board. So that's where we want to at least make sure on that end.
I guess the only other thing, seeing how we've talked about it, and just to reinforce that, is that the area behind there is to be cleared out, and I would add that as a note on the site plan that says, prior to occupancy, the area behind the east building will be cleaned out to allow for emergency access.
Understood there. Thank you very much. All right, thank you.
Thanks. Next thing we have on the agenda is the vacancy procedure. Just to give the board an update on that. Obviously, this relates to Ted's passing. We did check with town council and also looked at the current governing statute. We do not have to request that a member be appointed. We can continue with a 4-member board until the town election. Or we can request if we think that that's the appropriate thing to do. I guess I'll lead off. I think where we are in the year, we're halfway through. I think we'd end up, let's see, 2, 3, we'd have 9 meetings, and, well, we'd actually have less than 9 meetings before an appointment would be made. To me, I think this board understands its purpose in terms of reviewing plans, and I don't think we'd have an issue with obviously it's an even number board, and that's the issue as to why we have 5. But I don't foresee there being a problem going ahead with 4 until the next town election in April. I think it would be, whether it's true or not, and I probably know more than any, although it was a long time ago, I may be the only one that actually ran for a seat that was against an opponent that was appointed and was successful when I did run. But I do think that there is some stigma if someone's appointed and stuff, and I would rather see it have the seat remained open, and those people that truly are interested go out, get the signatures, go out, campaign in front of all the people of the town of Milford, and get elected that way. So that's my feeling, but it's all of us that need to make that decision. If we decide that we do want to have an appointed member, we would need to request that of the Board of Selectmen. They would go out and request people that are interested with their package as to why they're interested, probably a brief resume that would be submitted, and then we would review the Board of Selectmen and us would review those, and I would assume interview candidates and then make a selection from the people that had submitted. So that's the process, and I guess that's my take on it, and I'm certainly open to listening to you guys and what you guys would want to do.
Yeah, thank you for that background and checking in with, I'm assuming, with Brian Murray on that, on whether we had to fill that position. Appreciate that.
And also the town administrator as well.
That level of information. I guess from a basic, the basic standpoint is if a vote was ever to be 2-2, what are the, I guess, the next factors that would happen to an applicant for any type of, say, an amended site plan, and it goes 2-2, is it then reconsidered, rediscussed, and maybe revoted, or does it become a point where it no longer moves forward?
It's a no vote.
It's a no vote.
It becomes a no vote.
Yep.
So I guess I kind of worry about from that standpoint, maybe that by not having that majority, or by having the potential of a deadlock,
Yep.
of a tie.
Yeah, that exists.
I haven't seen that.
Well, how many times have you had four-person?
No, I
board,
mean, even-
guess, right?
even-
But yeah, some, if someone's not
And
here.
even, there's been very, to be
Yeah,
honest, in
3-2.
23 years, there's
Yep.
been very few
Yep.
3-2 votes.
Okay, yeah. And again, I'd lean on your experience with that.
Yeah.
As someone that's only
So
been
I
here
mean,
for 6 months.
and that's why I'm saying it. I'm
Yep.
also saying it based on, I mean, it's, it has been a relatively short time
Right.
with you on the board, but we've had no situation since you've been on the board, and Joe was an extra year, and Babe and I have been on for quite a while, and there's been, that possibility exists. To me, I think it makes it incumbent on us that when we make those votes, that we understand why we're doing it,
Right.
and not to say that it can't be 2-2, but you just need to be careful when you're doing those types of things if we go down that path. But I think, I've been associated with you guys now for a while and stuff. I'm comfortable that if we do have a 2-2 vote, there's probably a pretty good reason for it, and then there's maybe a reason why why we need to take, or why the applicant needs to take even a harder look at it. So I'm comfortable that we could still work through that.
And then my next question would be when there's ever, you need that, I want to call them a supermajority. Yeah, the supermajority, and in the case that there's a conflict of interest and someone needs to step aside. That would be the only other factor that could.
I mean, I guess if, I don't know that there's anything of that nature coming forward.
Right.
There's nothing to say that a month from now, we can't request the
Right.
selectmen to do it.
Okay.
If we know something is coming in, if we needed to do that.
Yeah.
And if something was going to need a supermajority and
It's gonna take a while.
then, yeah, we would have, I think the board would have time to add,
I don't
request
think
a
you can-
member.
You can't start it immediately.
Right, but I
No,
don't
but
think once.
they would come in and talk to Larry and I.
They
We
would
would know it's,
Yes, that's what I
something's
assumed.
coming
But
along.
you can't add something in the middle of the thing. We gotta make the decision tonight whether it's up or down. You can't, in December, you can't say,
No, I think we can request it.
Can we?
Yeah.
Yeah, the question of that kind of timing is more to do with what applications are coming down the pike, and how soon we know about it and how much ahead of time. So as long as, in theory, you knew about it ahead of time before a notice was posted, that you were able to get the select board to have the meeting where both boards appoint somebody, you'd want to make sure you would time that before you started the public hearing process.
The only thing, I think to his point, if the second paragraph, it says, and this is lawyer talk, so I may not be reading it correctly, but it says within 1 month of said vacancy
Right.
to the selectmen. So in December, it won't have been within 1 month of said vacancy. So is there a time limit
To request, I guess we'd have to check
with town council?
with town council on that. But I mean, I don't think we know of anything right now that's coming down, and again, we're gonna be into
the only
April shortly.
thing I thought of is if somebody has to recuse himself, we would do it. But I think in a case where you need a supermajority, the ethics board overrides that and lets that person vote.
Yes, yes.
So, again, I've gone over this in my mind for the last couple of weeks myself, you know, which way to do it, what thing, and I kind of agree with Joe. I don't see a problem.
And I don't get the impression that the select board would differ from that much. So it's not like you're creating some thing by not sending a letter right away.
Any comments, Joe?
I'm good with it as is with the 4.
Well, in that case, we don't have anything to go forward with, so we don't have to worry about anything. That being said, one thing that isn't on the agenda, but I just wanted to give you an update. Larry and I did attend the Finance Committee meeting last Thursday, and they did provide us with a favorable recommendation to town meeting for the $103,000 for the comprehensive plan. So we will be going forward to town meeting with a favorable recommendation from the Finance Committee.
And speaking of that, the copy of the warrant that we had, that I gave you last time, as it turns out, they changed it, so this is the final version.
New with the new.
And I included a copy of the official report that's being mailed out to town meeting members, and this is what the chairman will read at the meeting when they call it Article 43.
Larry, before we close the meeting, did we hear anything back from Archer Rubber, from the owners of Archer Rubber? I hate to say Archer Rubber because it's no longer them, in terms of their letter and stuff? No? Okay.
Nope, I'm waiting with bated breath for their attorney to call.
Yeah, it would be good to understand what they feel their issues are with that, but,
Well, you have to read the zoning bylaw to understand that, so it's...
They have issue with the
change
change of the
change of zone,
zoning.
yeah.
Right, okay, I wanted to make sure I was,
Yeah, they
thought I was right.
want to leave it as is and not go to the business park zone, which I'm just not quite sure why you would.
Why,
but
yeah, makes no sense.
It would be interesting to hear what their take on it is. That's all I had in terms of any updates. Pleasure of the board.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Motion by Babe to adjourn. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing not. All those in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous at 4. Thanks very much.